This is a fantastic resource and a great, great site and service that we're going to talk more about in depth when we get to the Content Factory CD in this course. We talk about publishing articles to get traffic, which is a great way to get traffic and to get targeted traffic. Well, this is Ezine Articles, and this is one of the biggest and best, I think it's the best by far, article directories on the entire internet. And it's owned by a good friend of mine, Christopher Knight, and Christopher's been building this site for, I think, over 10 years. It's been a long, long time, so it's very, very developed. As you can see up there towards the top, they have over 100,000 expert authors writing articles and submitting articles to this directory. So there's tremendous content in this directory. And you probably already know about Ezine Articles if you've done any kind of internet marketing. If you haven't, come and poke around here. It's an amazing site. You can get your own articles listed for free in this directory, and you can find articles in this directory that you can use. Now, if you don't know about it, let me give you the brief breakdown about articles. Pretty much the way it works is all the articles, I think there are millions in this directory. Any of the articles that are in this directory, you are free to use on your own site, in your own email autoresponders, courses, and special reports. You're free to use it all you want. Most of the articles contain a footer, a small little area that gives credit to who the author is that wrote it. And almost in every case, that little footer will contain links to their website. And that's why they're creating the article and giving it up free for people to use on their own sites, is because they'll get credit. They'll get that established link that's in that little footer, and hopefully they'll get traffic from letting other people use their content. You know, fair trade. They put in the time and effort to create this great content. You could freely use it on your site and get value out of it, but you just have to keep the links intact to give them credit for who actually wrote the article, and obviously linking to their site for people that want to go to their site. So what you're going to learn when we get to the Content Factory CD, one part of publishing content and getting it out there on the internet is that you can write articles or hire someone to write articles for you, and you could submit them to this directory, and other people will find them and use them on their sites. They'll add them to their blog, they'll add them to their newsletter, they'll add them to their web pages, because that's, as we talked about, content is what makes up the internet. So most people either need content for their pages and they'll write it themselves, or they need content and they're willing to just use other people's content and give them the credit, and they don't mind linking out to them in exchange for let's see. Yeah, landscaping. Don't really see a specific gardening category here. So rather than guess at what the next closest category is, let's just try doing a search and seeing what articles come up. Now, by me putting in gardening, I really need to think like we did in that Technorati example and think of words and phrases that may be in kind of an article title or in the body. Gardening should be in the body in there somewhere as well as in the title, so I think that's at least a good place to start. But eventually you put your thinking cap on and you use some other phrases related to your market, like we did with planting roses. So we do a search, and these are all the different articles or areas of the site that are coming up for that search. A lot. We're finding a lot of them in here. So let's click this. Organic gardening secrets. The daylily is a delicious ornamental. So here's an article. It says the word count's 358 words. Here's the article itself. And then you'll see here at the end of the article, there's a link to a website. And it's basically, if you want more information, click this link and go to the site. So you're free to copy and paste this whole thing. as long as you leave that link intact to give the author credit, or at least that links to their website. And that's it. But you'll want to come in here and poke around and look at different articles that are in this directory, in this site, that are related to your market, and just create a swipe file, copy and paste them, save them somewhere in a digital files file. You don't need to just print them all out, and just keep them as good examples of content for your market, for articles that people are writing about. So you'll know what people are writing about in relation to your market. And as I mentioned just briefly before already, as you build this research department of your marketing, so to speak, of your company, where you take your ideas from to then create content to move to that production and creation stage. Again, all this stuff, whether you're doing it or whether you hire someone to do it, the more ideas and research you have, the better. So you'll want to come in here and find as many articles as you can about your market, and then just copy and paste them and store them in some kind of file or some area where you can look through them later in order to, because you'll never run out of ideas to write content. If you need to make a blog post or other articles or a special report or maybe even a video series, we're going to get into all that stuff. But you'll never run out of ideas on what to create. That's what holds people back. They're like, oh, I don't know what I'm going to write about. I've already written 50 articles before. I've already written 50 blog posts before. I'm just got writer's block. Well, if you have a great research file and you have good information stored in it that you got from doing research like this, you can just flip through it to get ideas and then move them to the kind of molding production stage and then create content out of that idea of just knowing what someone else wrote about, and so on and so forth. So come to Easy in Articles. It's a great site. We're going to talk more about it when we get to actually publishing content and allowing other people to find our content and syndicate it, which is basically what using this article site will do, letting other people use it and pass it around the internet, which gets us links to our site and brings us traffic and everything else that goes with that. So this is Easy in Articles.